the reason why you have to say what Dana did is completely wrong no matter what is because you have to have those rules in place. That's why. That's why it's important. The reason it's important to just say no about what Dana did is not because what he did is super serious, because I don't think what he did is super serious. He wasn't trying to hurt her, but you can't allow it. You can't have any quarter on it. You can't give an inch on that. Is because you have to have hard and fast rules about men putting hands on women, period. Because if you consider their societally to be like gray area, then what ends up happening is you have people like Phil Baroni who are too stupid to understand nuance. And, you're like, look, I mean, did he really mean to hurt her? Of course not. Okay, blah, blah, blah. And then this kind of shit happens. This becomes a regular occurrence. Like dumb fuck Neanderthals using their strength to actually hurt women. All right, well, in case you've been living under a rock, you probably already know that Phil Baroni killed his girlfriend in Mexico. And a news story is out now. Not a news story, but the bigger details related to this case are out now in terms of what actually happened. Last night I did a live stream. I don't know if you've seen it or not. Kind of irrelevant because we have much more detailed information that's out now. Last night I knew what his story was about what happened. I'll tell you that again. And then now I'm going to also tell you what the police are saying happened, which is, throws a lot of doubt onto Phil Baroni's side of the story, like a lot of doubt. And then there are images that I'm going to show you also, pictures that are relevant. And it's one of those things where a story like this, sometimes you kind of can't even wrap your brain around it at first. You're like, I don't really even know how to describe it. But since then, like I do in stories like this, for whatever reason, it'll take me a second. And then as soon as I put one of my own kids into a story and I think about it, whoop, just really changes things, 3 daughters. It's like Baroni's girl is this like invisible person initially. And he's a guy that I feel sympathy for because I know he's like, what's Phil Baroni going to do from age 50 to 70? You know what I mean? Like, and I think about that like that kind of thing a lot. And so I'm like, damn, that's messed up. He must have been in a terrible place. And then it's like, but wait, he killed his girl. And then you're like, man, what if that was my daughter? And then you're all, oh. And then things change. And that has happened for me overnight. So we're going to talk about this again. But before we get into it and I give you all the details and I tell you some other crazy stories about Phil Baroni that I had heard here and there and my own story related to this because he was supposed to come meet us in Mexico. I wanted to tell you guys that on this channel, we have an agreement basically where if this is your first time watching one of my videos, enjoy. Consider it a free preview. If you want to watch more of my videos, I ask that you're going to subscribe to the channel. All you have to do is just click the button and then forget about it. All it is, it's free, right? And I give you free access to the library of content that I make. It's a handshake agreement. I can only do it this way, but everybody seems to be doing it on the other side. So I appreciate that very, very much. It just tells the algorithm that people are watching my stuff. It means a lot more. If people watch it, the algorithm's like, okay, they watched it. If someone subscribes, it's like a 20-fold increase in how they share my stuff. That's why I ask, and I appreciate you guys doing that. Whether you like the content, don't like the content, you obviously like it enough that you're watching it multiple times. So please subscribe to the channel if you're going to watch more than one of my videos. I appreciate it very much. Okay, so, also, I'm sorry. I almost jumped the gun. I have to thank Yo Kratom, the sponsor of this particular video. My favorite sponsor today, because I actually used their product today. Yo Kratom has all the different strains. If you're a Kratom user, you will not find cheaper prices than this. It comes in 2 days. You get a $60 kilogram. It'll be there in 2 days. You get a $110 kilogram that's capsuled. Be there in 2 days. Doesn't matter. It's incredibly reliable. The product is solid. There's all the different strains. So check out yokratom.com. That's where me and Gabrielle get ours. And that is what it is. Okay, so this story comes out last night that Phil Baroni's been arrested for murder in Mexico. That's obviously an enormous story, and it rips around the internet. Everybody who's kind of even moderately connected to the MMA community starts getting text messages. They start seeing it on an Instagram. I went live last night really quick without even having really thought about it very much. And again, the details were sparse. So what the details were last night when I went live were that Phil Baroni's story was that they were on New Year's Day. He said that he had smoked some marijuana. I have no idea. I still don't understand why that was part of his story. But he had smoked some marijuana, and they got into a fight. And he said that she told him that she'd been sleeping with someone else, and he snapped and he threw her into the shower where she hit her head, And then she laid there. And then he said that he helped her up. He took her to the bed. He took her clothes off, put a sheet on her. And then she asked him for a cigarette and a beer. He went out to go get her a cigarette and a beer. And then he brought them back. And when he came back, she had no vitals. Okay. So that's his story. So a couple different things about that. Number one, last night I was like, why would he have taken her clothes off when he put her on the bed? And people were like, oh, maybe they were soaked in blood or something. Okay, well, I actually do have an answer for that now. Okay, so I thought about that. And it's the implication is that the shower was on when he threw her in there, right? He throws her in, the shower's on, and then she gets all wet, so he helps her take her clothes off. That's the only thing I could think of that would make sense. But like I said, the details coming out from the police throw a lot of doubt on his story anyway, right? So I think it's fair, just in fairness to Baroni, I will say this. So I have a friend that I was talking to today who told me that he actually has someone who was close in his life, a female, who was thrown into a shower where she hit her head and it damaged her brainstem and she died. Okay. So the story of threw a girl into the shower and she hit her head and died is not impossible. It's, far from it. And it's actually, that story is actually relevant because in that case, the person who threw her, she was actually attacking the guy, and the guy threw her into the shower and, claimed self-defense, and he actually didn't get charged. Okay. So I'm not even we don't even need to talk about that case at all. It's just a relevant story in that it is possible that someone can be thrown into a shower and die. And it's also 100% that Phil Baroni's story was absolutely idiotic. Right? In what universe do you think that that's a viable defense? Because what we're going to get to is that he's lying. Okay. So Phil Baroni's lying. This is a lie, what he said. Okay. In what universe would that have been a viable defense? Look, man, she told me she was sleeping with someone else. So, I just figured I'd crack her head on the shower. It's like, okay. And then it's like, so it was an accident. I mean, I threw her to the shower and then she hit her head. It's an accident. You're all, okay, but you just said that you threw her out of anger and she hit her head. Yeah, but I didn't mean to. Okay, you meant to throw her. Yeah, but she said she's sleeping with someone else. You're all, oh, I'm sure that'll play good in court. Can you go ahead and write that down and then sign your name on it? Sure. She said she's sleeping with someone else, so I threw her in the shower. She hit her head and she died. They're all, good job. How much does she weigh? 110 pounds. You're all, How much do you weigh? 190. Why? No reason. 190, 110 pounds. How much do you bench? It's all 450. They're all, good, 450. Good job. New York badass. Hey, have you and her ever been in an altercation before? No, man, never. Good. Okay, so you're a professional fighter, correct? Oh, yeah. You're like, you fought some of the toughest people in the world. Yeah, I have. And you thought that it would be cool out of anger to throw a 110-pound girl as hard as you could. Well, she said she slept with another guy. Got it. We just wanted to write that down, wanted to write all that down. So here's the reality though. Okay. So the details from the crime scene come out and some pictures as well of his hands as an example. And what the police say is that there was clear signs of her having been beaten. Okay. So we're going to have to play, let's imagine, we're going to play a little imagine game. Okay. So someone grabs you. Let's just say it's you, whoever you are. Okay. Add 100 pounds of sheer muscle on top of whatever you weigh. Okay. So if it's me, I weigh 196. I just weighed myself this morning. So someone who weighs 296 pounds and the 100 pounds, right? Well, I guess he's what? Let's make it realistic, right? So if I'm 196, it would be 286, right? So we're throwing 90 pounds. This is also not exact, whatever. You guys get what I'm saying. Add 80 pounds of sheer muscle, okay? But also keep in mind that they have no muscle on them. So no, I'm going to say 100 pounds of muscle, dude. So 296 of muscle is going to pick me up and throw me as hard as they can into a shower where I'm going to hit my head. Okay. All right. I mean, that could certainly kill me if I hit my head wrong. Right. But what am I going to look like after that incident? What are you going to look like? They threw you once, you hit your head. Okay. What does it look like? Okay. Maybe damage right here, but You hit somewhere once. You have one thing of blunt force trauma somewhere. You're probably bleeding. Obviously, if it's going to lead to death, you have some kind of internal damage. But like, what does that look like? Okay, so what it doesn't look like is it doesn't look like you have beating marks all over your body. It doesn't look like you've been punched repeatedly in your face. Okay, there's a huge difference between being thrown once and being repeatedly struck. And what it looked like in her case was she had been beaten. Okay, beaten. So, bottom line is his story's bullshit. You know, like his story's bullshit. And I don't think that should surprise anybody that his story's bullshit, but it is. It's bullshit. He beat this girl to death. Okay? That's what happened. That's what happened. Now, the reason that he did it is totally irrelevant. You know what I mean? Like, totally irrelevant. It's interesting that this is happening, that this happened in Mexico, very close to where Dana was when this whole thing happened with his wife. Now, I watched that tape last night probably 5 times. Like literally, like I watched that tape of Dana 5 times, okay? Last night after doing the live streams on it. And I'll do another video on it after this. But here's the deal, okay? Dana and his wife were talking, okay? She's yelling in his ear. He says something to her. She slapped him, right? And you could tell he was shocked by that, right? He slapped her back identical to how you would spank your kid. If anybody's going to spank our kids, it's Gabrielle, though. It's not me. I can't do it, dude. I can't do it. They are zero afraid of me. Zero. And that's good. That's well-placed non-fear. Because anything physical is never going to come from me, dude. Never. The only time I tried to spank him, I basically failed. So it's like, that's basically the response that Dana gave, right? Was like a spanking a kid. Now, is it okay? Of course not, dude. Of course it's not okay. But that's what happened. And he wasn't trying to hurt her, right? Like if a guy is trying to hurt a girl, it's insane. You know what I mean? Like it's like completely insane. It's never okay to put hands on a woman ever. I don't even really think it's okay to throw a girl on a bed or any of that stuff. You know, like that's kind of the thing that everybody always brings up in these kinds of situations. You're all, look, man, like I'll shake a girl. Like I'll shake her. And so he's like, yeah. And in all honesty, no. Okay. Shake. No. Restrain if they're attacking you. Sure. If a girl's attacking you and you grab her and you hold her and you're like, calm down. This kind of shit, calm down. Sure. But like grab them and shake them hard? No. And all of it comes down to what's your intention? You know what I mean? Like what's your intention? What are you trying to do here? Right? Like, because you can take a girl and shake her and you know what you're trying to do. Like you know exactly what you're trying to do. Okay? Now, I've never shook a girl hard. I've never done anything other than restrain a girl in college, calm down, go place them outside my house. But like you can shake a girl with the intention of hurting her, right? And so if you're like, yeah, I'll shake a bitch. No, you can't do that. Okay. So my point is like Dana kind of responding like that. Of course it's not okay. But I'll take that over someone trying to hurt someone. And this Phil Baroni thing, he beat her to death, man. Like do you have any idea how much like you have to put into beating a person until they're not alive anymore? Even if it's a girl? Like, there are these fluky things where they can hit their head wrong and stuff like that. But like she had bruises and like damage all over her body. Like he beat her to death, man. They should lock him in a fucking box forever, dude. Like he's obviously a sick guy, obviously. But cool. You know what I mean? Like you want to know what my answer to that is? Obviously he's a really sick guy. Okay. Well, so is every person who's ever put a hand on a kid, Listen, dude, it's not their fault. They're just born this way. Like they're attracted to kids. And so they're obviously really sick. Right. So what do you think we should do with them? I don't know. Get them counseling. That's what you should do with them. Get them out of the gene pool. Okay. Now, Baroni is going to sit in a Mexican prison for 20 years. I mean, that's a pretty rough punishment, dude. So, but like, I don't have any sympathy for him at all. None. I have no sympathy for him at all. He beat a little girl to death. A little girl who had a dad that, might have had a dad, where if their dad was in their life, would have hated that she was dating Phil Baroni, would have been afraid that she was dating Phil Baroni, would have known that this was something that could potentially happen. You don't understand. I love him, Dad. I love him. So he gets no fucking sympathy from me. None. And people try to even put this in the same universe as the thing that happened with Dana. It's like, dude, give me a break. It's not the same. This idea that there are no degrees of things. You know what I mean? It's like everything can be done to a degree. What Dana did is wrong. It's fucking wrong, dude. You can't touch girls. They slap you, too bad, dude. Like, you don't get to slap them back. But, you know, a person who's actively using man strength to try to hurt a woman, to try to hurt her, that's different, dude. Like, that is different. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. I don't care what you say in the fucking comments. If you don't understand the difference, then you're a fucking idiot, dude. Like, if you don't understand the difference, you are too fucking stupid to understand anything that I'm going to talk about on the channel, ever. Oh, look, Jesse's defending Dana. Nope, not what I'm saying. I'm saying there are differences and gray, like not gray, it's just like everything's not the same, you know? What happened with Dana is not the same thing as happened with Ray Rice. It's not the same thing, dude. And what Phil Baroni did is worse than what anybody's, this is the end of the rainbow, dude. The worst you can do. A dude who beat his girl to death. A little girl, dude. A little girl that trusted him to protect her, dude. That's the agreement that you make, okay? Toxic masculinity. Shut the fuck up, dude. You want to know what being masculine is? Is having a girl, a little girl, who relies on you to protect them physically. That's your fucking job, dude. That's your job. You want to know why it's important for you to be strong physically, to train in martial arts, to do whatever you can do to be a strong person, to protect your girl, protect your kids. You use that strength to beat your kids or your girl? Fuck that shit, dude. Fuck that. So fuck Phil Baroni. Bury him in the jail. And by the way, I don't think I got there, but his hands looked like they had gone to work, you know. Bruises on his hands or whatnot. Ugh. Man, it makes me hope that she didn't have a fucking dad, dude. But, yeah, so it makes me super fucking nervous, man. Because what I thought about is like, what's the number one rule about daughters? They all marry their dad. They look for their dad. Now, would I be good with my kids marrying me, a guy just like me, 1,000? There's nothing that would make me happier than that. Nothing in the world would make me happier than them finding a dude identical to me in terms of how they interact with their girl. But fuck me if there aren't guys that might appear to be like me to my daughters that are not like me, that are like Phil Baroni. Unstable fucking idiots. If you stood me next to Phil Baroni for 5 minutes to the untrained eye and just had us talk, they might actually think that we're similar. You know what I mean? I mean, probably not. I'm 1,000 times smarter than him. But like, you know, I don't know. That's the kind of shit that I think about. Which just, again, and honestly, that's the other thing, dude. That's the other thing. The reason why you have to say what Dana did is completely wrong no matter what is because you have to have those rules in place. That's why. That's why it's important. The reason it's important to just say no about what Dana did is not because what he did is super serious, because I don't think what he did is super serious. He wasn't trying to hurt her, but you can't allow it. You can't have any quarter on it. You can't give an inch on that. Is because you have to have hard and fast rules about men putting hands on women, period. Because if you consider their societally to be like gray area, then what ends up happening is you have people like Phil Baroni who are too stupid to understand nuance. And, you know, you're like, look, I mean, did he really mean to hurt her? Of course not. Okay, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then this kind of shit happens. This becomes a regular occurrence. Like dumb fuck Neanderthals using their strength to actually hurt women. Now, do I think Dana should step down? Of course not. Do I think anything should happen to Dana aside from whatever he's going to have to deal with in the public? No, I think that exactly what's happening right now is exactly what's going to happen. I don't think he's going to step down. I don't think he should step down. But the reason everyone has to be firm on the fact that it's wrong and there's no room for negotiation is for the exact reason that I'm saying, because it sprawls into other things where stupid fucks that are not Dana think that this shit's okay. Someone told me a story in the comments today about Phil Baroni that blew my mind. They said that he was set to come on their podcast, and Baroni, when he called, Baroni didn't show. Baroni was drunk out of his mind and in court, and then he tried to ask the guy for money to reschedule it. I was like, Jesus, man. Anyway, that's enough.